And see, in our previous class we have introduced about electron affinity. This is also one of the periodic property or else atomic property. Generally it is denoted with Ea or delta EGH. See, already we have seen uh, electron affinity 1 is exothermic and other electron affinities are endothermic in nature. So whenever there is nuclear force of attraction, if a force of attraction develops, whenever the force of attraction develops, so always there will be, it leads to loss of energy. So always whenever force of attraction is developed, it leads to the loss of energy. Okay, so remember this thing. So it will be useful in our discussion. And electron affinity units we have seen. The units of electron affinity are similar to the ionization energy units, and this electron affinity value can be calculated indirectly. Directly we cannot calculate the electron affinity. So we can calculate the electron affinity values indirectly by Born-Haber cycle. Okay. See, look here. This electron affinity, it depends upon the factors. So it depends on factors on the. It depends upon the factors which affect the ionization energy also. That means the factors which affect the ionization energy will affect the electron affinity also, like size, like atomic size, next effective nuclear charge, shielding effect, electronic configuration, etc. Shielding effect. Okay, next electronic configuration, etc. So all the factors which affect the ionization energy, so those factors will affect the electron affinity also, right? See, if you consider inert gases, due to the completely filled orbitals, what happens? This atom does not like to take electron from the outside. That means inert gases, if you take, so they possess zero electron affinity. Why? Because in the inert gases, their outermost orbit contains 8 electrons. These are the inner shells. The outermost orbit contains 8 electrons. So already we have learned that any atom which contains 8 electrons in the outermost orbit is said to be stable atom. Hence inert gases are stable. The atoms of inert gases are stable. Suppose if you try to add one more electron into this atom, then the stability of the atom will be lost. No atom in the nature will does not like to lose its stability. So no inert gas will like to lose its stability by gaining electron. That means no inert gas will take electron into it, extra electron into that atom. So that means as there is no addition of electron, hence there is no development of force of attraction between the nucleus and the added electron. So when no electron is added, then there won't be any force of attraction developed newly. That means new force of attraction is not developed. Hence, what happens? There is no loss of energy. When a force of attraction is not developed, then there won't be any loss of energy. So that means the energy lost is zero. That is why inert gases, their electron affinity is said to be zero. Okay, because already these atoms of inert gases are stable, so they does not like to take one electron extra into their atoms. If they does not take electron into their atoms, then there won't be any force of attraction developed between the nucleus and the other electron. So when there is no development of force of attraction, there won't be any loss of energy by that atom. Hence zero loss of energy. That is why inert gases possess zero electron affinity. Right. In case of nitrogen, phosphorus, they have half-filled electronic configuration, and this is also a stable electronic configuration. Nitrogen, phosphorus. So that is why in these atoms also, what happens? So as they contains stable electronic configuration, so they does not like to add electron. Even the atoms which contain half-filled electronic configuration also, they are stable. They are somewhat stable. So that is why they does not like to add electron into their atoms. Okay, suppose if you want to add electron into these such atoms, what happens? So in order to add this electron into the atoms, we have to supply energy to this atom. Even it is first electron affinity also, we have to supply energy to this atom, so that atom will include in this, that electron will include in this atom. So the supplied energy will be greater than the lost energy by that atom, and that means energy absorbed by the atom is greater than the energy lost due to force of attraction between the nucleus and electron by that atom. So as a whole, what happens? There will be loss of energy by the atom. As a whole, there will be gain of electron by that atom. Though it is first electron affinity also, EA1 of these elements, it is what? It is a positive. Positive means, what is the meaning of positive? So positive enthalpy, or else positive energy change, or else simply absorption of energy, When there is any absorption of energy, generally we will call it as positive enthalpy, or else we'll say that electron affinity is positive. So all are synonymous. That means will have same meaning. So electron affinity is positive because the atom will gain energy instead of losing energy. Hence the electron affinity is positive. In case of beryllium and magnesium also, so the electron affinity is positive because here they have completely filled orbitals. But not inert gases. They are not inert gases. Inert gases have NH2 NP6 configuration, 8 electrons in the outermost orbit. But these atoms, they have completely filled orbitals, but they do not possess inert gas configuration. So as they possess completely filled orbitals, then also atom will be stable. Then also these atoms will be stable atoms. So in this case also, whenever atom is having completely filled orbitals, also the atom becomes stable. If an atom has half filled orbitals, half filled electronic configuration, or else completely filled electronic configuration, or else inert gas configuration, so in these three circumstances, atoms will be stable atoms. So whenever atoms are stable atoms, they possess positive electron affinity. But here inert gases possess zero electron affinity. So electron affinity of inert gases is zero, whereas electron affinity of nitrogen, phosphorus, beryllium, magnesium, so these four are positive. Okay, so electron affinity of which one are positive? Nitrogen, phosphorus, beryllium, magnesium. Their electron affinity values are positive. Whereas all other atoms, electron affinity of all other atoms is what? Negative. Electron affinity of all other atoms. So here first electron affinity. So whenever we discuss about electron affinity, generally we will discuss about first electron affinity only. So rarely we will discuss about second electron and third electron affinities. Okay. So in general, if someone says electron affinity, we have to consider that it has a first electron affinity. So electron affinity of all other atoms, so except nitrogen, phosphorus, beryllium, magnesium and inert gases, the electron affinity of all other atoms will be negative. So when does this negative electron affinity will be? Whenever there is loss of energy by the atom. Whenever there is loss of energy by the atoms, okay, then the electron affinity is said to be negative. Okay, whenever there is absorption of energy by the atoms, then the electron affinity is said to be positive. Okay, if there is no absorption of energy or no loss of energy, then the electron affinity is said to be zero, which is possessed by inert gases. So like this. Now let us learn about electron affinity, how it varies along a period and along a group. How electron affinity varies along a period and along a group. In general, suppose electron affinity in a group, in any group, generally what happens? Down the group, electron affinity should decrease. Generally down the group of any group, generally electron affinity decreases. Okay, why the electron affinity decreases? Reason means due to increase in atomic size. Due to increase in atomic size, what happens? Whenever size of the atom is more, what happens? When the atom size is more, the added electron will be into the orbit far away from the nucleus. Okay, the added electron will be into the orbit which is far away from the nucleus. So when the added electron is far away from the nucleus, what happens? The force of attraction will be less. Between the nucleus and the electron, the force of attraction is less. See, whenever force of attraction increases, what happened? Loss of energy by the atom increases. If the force of attraction is less, of the nucleus on the added electron. If it is less, what happens? There will be less release of energy. So that is why, so as we move down the group, what happens? The size of the atom increases. As the size of the atom increases, what happens? The added electron will be placed in the outermost orbit always. For example, take lithium. In lithium, so this is the into this orbit the electron is added. Into sodium, the electron should be added. Generally electron affinity, it is related to non-metals. So we generally should take the electron affinity for by treating non-metals. So whatever it may be, either metals or non-metals, in general down the group what happens? The size of the atom increases. So that means here from when compared to this atom, the size of this atom is more because one more orbit is added. So in this case, suppose if you want to add an electron into this atom, what happens? The added electron will be far away from the nucleus when compared to the added electron into this atom. Okay, here the added electron will be near to the nucleus, whereas in this case the added electron will be far away from the nucleus. So in this case force of attraction is more, whereas in this case force of attraction is less. So that is why what happens here, when force of attraction is more, loss of energy by the atom will be more. So that means electron affinity in this case will be more, whereas the electron affinity in this case decreases. Okay, and the electron affinity will further decrease if the atomic size is further increased. So that means here to the added electron in the fourth orbit when compared to third orbit and when compared to second orbit, here the force of attraction will be less. When the force of attraction is less, what happens? So that atom will lose less energy. That means less electron affinity. So that is why generally down the group electron affinity decreases due to increase in atomic size. So this is the general trend one should follow. That means a group should follow. But there is some exception. In every group there is some exception. So now let us learn about the exception where that exception occurs. So in general, for example, generally we will consider about non-metals. So for example, take fifth year group, fifth or else fourth year group. So what happens? That means in what are the fourth year group elements? Carbon, silicon, germanium, tin, lead. So what should happen? So here carbon should possess more, that means down the group electron affinity decreases. So that means carbon should possess more electron affinity than cesium and should possess more electron affinity than germanium, and so like this. So as we move down the group from carbon to silicon and up to lead, so electron affinity should decrease. But something is happening. So actually there is exchange of these elements from element belong to second period and third period element. So that means here what happens? So actually the trend will be like this. Electron affinity order will be like this. Okay, so this is the actual thing. So silicon is possessing more electron affinity than carbon, and from there onwards, so the order does not change. So that means here what is happening? So the order is changed between the element of second period. See, carbon belong to second period and silicon belong to third period. So that means second period elements will have less electron affinity than the third period element from every group. I am writing here. Second period element will have less electron affinity than than third period element in every group. In every group, second period element will have less electron affinity than third period element. So this is exception. This is exception. So this is the correct order and this is wrong order. So now we have to change the order to this, like this. Now we have to change the order. So silicon will possess more electron affinity than carbon. In the same way, fifth group elements, if you see, so phosphorus will come first. So actually nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, okay, bismuth and moscovium. But what happens here? Interchange of these two will take place. So electron affinity order, the actual electron affinity order will be like this. So phosphorus possesses more electron affinity than nitrogen, and from there onwards the order does not change. So it will be like that only. Okay, moscovium. Okay, so this is the correct electron affinity order. So this is actually the elements are arranged in this order in 5th A group. But if you see the elements in electron affinity order, so here the elements will be in this order. That means phosphorus will possess more electron affinity than nitrogen, and nitrogen will possess more electron affinity than arsenic. Okay, like this. Moscow. So in the same way, 6th A group. See here, 6th A group. So how the elements are arranged? Actually, 6th A group should possess oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium, and livermorium. It should possess like this. But the actual electron affinity order of order of 6th A group will be like this. See, look here, oxygen will possess less electron affinity than polonium. So the order will come here. So rest of the order will remain as it is. So sulfur, as usual, electron affinity of third period element will be higher in any group. So here sulfur is a third period element of 6th A group. So it possesses highest value of electron affinity in 6th A group. Okay, among 6th A group. So sulfur will stand first. Next to sulfur is selenium, tellurium, polonium, okay, oxygen and this one. So livermorium. So this is the order. So here in other cases, simply there is exchange between second period element and third period element. But in case of 6th A group elements are also called as chalcogens. CHALCOGEL, chalcogens. In chalcogens, so what happens? Oxygen possesses least electron affinity when compared to all other elements. See, livermorium is a newly discovered element. So here the properties of livermorium, it is not completely studied, it is not completely established. Still the properties of livermorium, they are under study only, so their properties are not completely established. So that is why just leave this livermorium, moscovium. Okay, just you leave this one and learn and observe the electron affinity values of other elements. So in this way, and if you see 7th A group elements, so actually the order should be like this: fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, astatine. But the order is changed. So chlorine will come first, next to chlorine is fluorine. Okay, so only between these two elements the order is changed. Whereas here in chalcogens, so the oxygen will completely come to the last at the end. Among all chalcogens, oxygen is the element oxygen will possess least electron affinity value. Okay, so chlorine, fluorine, bromine, iodine, astatine. So this is the order of electron affinity values of 7th A group. So this is the correct electron affinity order. Okay, this is the correct electron affinity order. So why it is happening? So why the electron affinity of third period element is more than the second period elements? So the reason is because the second period elements, they are small in size, okay, and interelectronic repulsions. So reason, I am writing the reason. Second period elements have are smaller in size, okay, and greater interelectronic repulsion So for example, take fluorine. If you compare fluorine with chlorine, see here fluorine, small size atom, whereas chlorine, it is a large size atom. So chlorine contains 3 orbits, whereas fluorine contains only 2 orbits. So the size of fluorine is less. So fluorine is second period element. So that means it is smaller in size. So when there is smaller in size, what happens? So between electrons, already in fluorine, the valence shell contains 7 electrons. Even in chlorine also, the valence shell contains 7 electrons. But here, see, because of limited space in the outermost orbit, because second orbit is smaller when compared to third orbit. So second orbit, fluorine, its last orbit is second orbit. Okay, so electrons are present, 7 electrons are present in second orbit of fluorine. Because of small in size, the orbit is small in size. So all these electrons, they suffer for the space. Okay, already there is a little repulsion between the electrons due to less space. So in that case, if you want to add one more electron to this fluorine atom, what happens? So it is very difficult. This atom does not like to take this electron because already there is competition for the space among these elements, these electrons. So if you want to add this electron into this atom, we have to reduce the repulsive forces between these electrons and this one. So by reducing the repulsive forces of these electrons on this electron, so we have to add this electron into this one. In order to reduce the repulsive forces of this electron on this, we have to supply some energy. To this atom. Okay, because of limited space and large number of electrons, so this atom does not like to add one more electron. So in that case, in order to make this electron to add it into this orbit, so we need to supply some energy, so that the supplied energy will reduce the repulsive forces between the electrons. So therefore what happens? Then only that electron can remain into this orbit. That means upon supplying some energy, then only that electron can be included into this atom. Now after inclusion of this electron into this atom, what happens? The nucleus will start force of attraction. It will show force of attraction. So now what happens? Some energy is released. Some energy is released. Some energy is released by the atom. See, always remember that the energy absorbed by this atom is more than the energy released by the atom. So as a whole, what is happening? As a whole, there is less release of energy. See, remember, so we have to, here there is loss of energy and there is absorption of energy. Both things are taken place. So we have to reduce the absorbed energy from the released energy. For example, the released energy is, let us assume, it is 10 units, and the absorbed energy, for example, it is 2 units, 2 or 4 units, or 5 units, let us assume. 5 units of energy it is absorbing in order to adjust the newly added electron into this one and to reduce the repulsive forces. So now when electron is added to this atom, so now this atom is losing 10 units of energy. So as a result, so this atom is losing of how much energy? It is losing only 5 units of energy, because so this is the resultant energy lost by that atom. Okay, so this is the resultant energy lost by the atom. So we have to remove this energy from the released energy by 10 units. From 10 units we have to remove this one. So how much amount of energy is lost by this atom as a result? As a whole, it is losing only 5 units of energy. Now compare this one. See, look here. So this orbit in chlorine atom, the orbit is large in size, so there is not that much repulsion between the electrons, because these electrons are freely arranged, so there is no repulsion between the electrons. Now if you want to add one more electron into this atom, so there are no repulsive forces existing. So what happens? This electron can be easily added. This electron can be easily added into this atom. The only thing is that here there is no need of additional energy given to that atom. Okay, simply this atom will easily add that electron into it. Now what happens after addition of this one? So there exists a force of attraction. Okay, so due to this force of attraction, what is happening? It is releasing 9 units of energy. It is releasing 9 units of energy. So how much amount of energy as a whole it is releasing? It is releasing 9 units of energy only. But here, because there is no absorption of energy by this atom is in this case only one thing is happening. So there is no absorption of energy, but there is only release of energy is taking place. So how much energy it is releasing? 9 units. But this atom is releasing how much? 10 units. But here in this case 2 things are happening. 5 units of energy is absorbing and it is losing 10 units of energy. So as a whole, so there is loss of only 5 units of energy by this atom. Okay, so by considering all these things, fluorine is losing only 5 units of energy, whereas chlorine is losing 9 units of energy. So these values are not exact values. Simply in order to make you understand, so I am giving you these things. Okay now, so that is why fluorine is having less electron affinity than chlorine. So here there are 2 reasons for the less electron affinity of fluorine than chlorine. Actually down the group, generally down the group, electron affinity should decrease. Here also if you observe, fluorine is releasing 10 units of energy, but chlorine is releasing only 9 units of energy. But along with this, something is happening. In case of fluorine, some energy is added by this. Some energy is added to to this atom, whereas in chlorine, no energy is added to this atom. So, as a whole, the added energy and the released energy So if you consider both the things, so there will be net loss of energy of 5 units only. But in case of chlorine, simply it releases energy, it is not accepting any energy, it is not absorbing any energy. Why? Because of its larger size. Chlorine is having larger size and there is no repulsion between the electrons in the chlorine atom. But in case of fluorine, because of its smaller size and also greater inter-electron repulsion, so what happens? So we need to supply energy to this atom. So due to this, what happens? So there is an energy change of only 5 units. So as a whole, this atom is losing only 5 units, whereas this atom is losing 9 units. So that is why electron affinity of chlorine is greater than electron affinity of fluorine. So in this way, we can discuss about the electron affinity of elements in a group. Okay, in general, what happens? Electron affinity should decrease down the group, but there is exception. So always the electron affinity of third period element in any group will be larger than the second period element. Okay, so in this way, electron affinity, variation of electron affinity in group we have studied. Okay, now let us learn about the electron affinity along a period. See what happens to electron affinity along a period. From left to right, atomic size, what happens? It decreases. Nuclear force of attraction increases. So what happens? Electron affinity increases. So from left to right, electron affinity increases. For example, take any period. Take sodium, magnesium, aluminum, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine. So electron affinity increases. From left to right. So from left to right, electron affinity increases. So chlorine possesses more electron affinity than sulfur, and sulfur possesses more electron affinity than phosphorus, and like this. So this is the order of electron affinity of elements in any period. Okay, so like this. And one more thing. So which element possesses highest electron affinity in the entire periodic table? So chlorine possesses highest electron affinity in the entire periodic table. Electron affinity means loss of energy. So chlorine will lose more energy when it takes an electron from outside into that atom. So no other element will lose as much energy as chlorine loses when an electron is added to that atom. So chlorine will lose more energy. So that means the electron affinity of the chlorine is highest among all elements present in the periodic table. So already we learnt electron affinity of all other elements will be negative. Negative means loss of energy. Negative means electron affinity. Negative means electron affinity is loss of energy. We already have learned that nitrogen, phosphorus, beryllium, magnesium possess positive electron affinity values, and all inert gases possess 0 electron affinity values. Okay, and one more thing. Electron affinity of neutral atom. Electron affinity of neutral atom is equal to ionization energy of unipositive ion. Ionization energy of unipositive ion. For example, take Na plus and Na. Okay, so here if you want to add electron to Na, if you want to add electron to Na, if you want to add one electron to Na, so this atom will release some energy, and that lost energy is said to be electron affinity, and the energy lost by this atom is said to be electron affinity. By how much amount? For example, let us assume it is 10 units. Let us assume electron affinity, that means the lost energy is 10 units. Now just keep it aside. Now take Na plus. Na plus means sodium ion, uni positive sodium ion. So if you want to take out electron, see here I wrote uni positive ion, so actually uni negative ion I have to write. Uni negative ion I have to write. That's why a bit of confusion. So I will take another example. So electron affinity of neutral atom. For example, take a chlorine. So here chlorine, if I add one electron to this chlorine, it becomes Cl minus and it loses some energy. It loses some energy. It is called as electron affinity. Okay. Ionization energy. What is ionization energy? Ionization energy is nothing but energy required to remove an electron from unit negative ion. Here in this case. So that means, for example, take Cl minus unit negative ion. So if I want to remove one electron from Cl minus, so what happens? It becomes Cl, uni negative ion. This is uni negative ion, and I want to remove this electron from this one. So to remove an electron from any atom or ion, it requires energy. So it is known as ionization energy. Okay, so here this process requires ionization energy, and here in this process energy is released. So in this process energy is released, and in this process energy is absorbed. It requires energy. Always remember that the electron affinity released in this process will be exactly equal to the ionization energy absorbed in this process. So that is the thing we need to learn. Electron affinity of neutral atom is always equal to ionization energy of uni negative ion. In the same way, ionization energy of neutral atom is equal to ionization energy of neutral atom is equal to electron affinity of uni positive ion. Electron affinity of uni positive ion. See, electron affinity of uni positive ion. So here we have to take that example. Ionization energy of neutral atom is equal to electron affinity of uni positive ion. For example, take any element like sodium. If I take element like sodium, so here sodium, ionization energy means energy required to remove an electron. So it becomes Na plus and one electron is lost. So for this process it requires some energy known as ionization energy. Okay, electron affinity of uni positive ion. For example, take sodium plus, uni positive ion is sodium plus. Now, so electron affinity means energy release when an atom, when an electron is added to an atom. So here this is atom, and to this ion or atom, so when one electron is added, what happens? Some energy is released in the process. So the released energy is said to be electron affinity. See, always remember that So this is a neutral atom and this is unipositive ion. So from neutral atom, if you want to remove an electron, so it requires ionization energy, and if you want to add one electron to the unipositive ion, the process releases some energy. Okay, during both the process, the energy absorbed in this process is exactly equal to the energy released in this process. So that is the electron affinity of the ionization energy of neutral atom. The ionization energy of neutral atom will always equal to electron affinity of unipositive ion. So in this way we can learn about the things about electron affinity. So the metal among all elements which possess highest electron affinity, chlorine. Okay. So among all elements chlorine possesses highest electron affinity. Among all elements, chlorine possesses highest electron affinity. Okay. Next, among all elements means chlorine. All metals, only metals we have to take. Among all metals, so the highest electron affinity is possessed by gold. Gold possess highest electron affinity. So like this the electron affinity can be studied. Okay, so with this the concept of electron affinity is finished. So in the next session or else in the next class, we will learn about the next periodic property. The next periodic property is electronegativity. So we will learn about that electronegativity in the next session. So with this, electron affinity is finished.